Yep.
In the separations lab, we're going to be separating 3 things. So you're going to need your sample. There are 3 things in this sample. We're going to be using a variety of beakers. Make sure that you're paying attention to your beaker. You need to have the weights of your beakers. Some of them you don't have to keep up with the weight, and it's the math. Some of the beakers you don't have to keep up with the mass, and it tells you in the instructions which ones that you need to have the mass. But you can't use someone else's beaker weight for your beaker. All the beakers weigh differently, different masses. Then we're going to be using a hot plate in the hood, and we're going to be using a ring stand. The ring stand is going to be used with this funnel. We're also going to be using filter paper. We'll be folding this, putting this in the funnel. We're going to be using a watch glass after we're done with our filtration. These are beaker tongs. They're not the same, right? We're using the beaker tongs. This is what we're going to use to pick up any hot beakers. We're also going to be using the oven, and it helps. There are gloves you need to use with the oven, but if you're trying to put something in and out of the oven, if you pick it up like this with these tongs, it makes it much easier. Let's get started. So this is our balances, and notice there's a few different doors you can use. There's even a top. You want to make sure all the doors are shut when you're actually using the balance. So in the instructions, it says take a 100 milliliter beaker. I'm going to place it in there. We're going to close the door. Now we're going to tare it by pushing this 0 mark. And now it's set at 0. We're going to take this amount. This is a mixture. It's got several things in it. So I'm just pouring it in. Placing it back in here. And that's how much our mixture weighs. I'm putting it on the hot plate in the hood. My hot plate is on high, and I'm going to go ahead and put it on there. I have to make sure that the hood is on because this is going to emit vapors. We don't want this to come in the room. We don't want to breathe it. You can see that you already can see you've got vapor coming off of it. There's also a hood height that this should be at. Put it down just a little bit for the best flow. Where's our line? Do we have a line? Ready to be moved. You can tell that there's a line down here, and a lot of the gas has stopped. We're going to pick up the beaker with our beaker clamps. Notice that it's going to be hot, 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 hot. You're going to carefully bring it over to the bench. Make sure that you don't run into someone on the way. And we're going to let this cool for a minute. The material that's on the outside here is actually stuck to this beaker, and we can pour the mixture out and get a mass. So we're gonna get the mass of this beaker, and I'm gonna put a picture of it. Now that we have the mass of the beaker, we're going to take our tongs and we're going to pour what remains of the mixture out. So you can see how this is very, on the bottom it's very mobile, and then the sides aren't. This is the position you can see. see any more in there? Now we can determine the mass of this mixture. We can turn off the hood when all of the samples are finished.